Purpose and experiencing meaning to life. If this is all a dream state, why do we need to be here and just exist?
You don't just exist. You experience, you grow, you change, you discover. It adds to your soul's experience. It adds to the idea of creation as it expands. Because again, as we have said, the structure of existence never changes. The way creation expands is through the idea of different experiences, different relationships, and different perspectives of it by you and your experience in the realm that you're in, such as physical reality. Calling it just a dream is not an understanding of the idea and the power behind experiencing the dream in the way that you have constructed it. It gives you an opportunity to experience something you cannot experience in spirit in a timeless state. And that has great value and great power to it. So it's not just about existing, it's about creating, acting, being, not just existing.
So when you talked about the neutral needs,
Yes.
are those across the board for all life, or is it just for this realm? The idea of creative expression is one of the neutral needs that we have.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if, you know, consciousness itself is wired with that same basic need to have creative expression. And that's why there are so many things to experience now because of that drive.
Yes, it is in a sense built into consciousness because everyone is a different expression of all that is, and therefore has its own need to express itself as a reflection. Now, the other things, of course, are more determined by the physical reality that you experience or the level of dimension that you're experiencing. Some things are not necessary in other dimensions. But the idea of creative expression is a very fundamental concept to your very existence, to your very nature, as an expression, as a reflection of all that is.
So if you went back 800,000 human years ago and looked at the universe,
Yes, well, first of all, you'd be very cold because 800,000 years ago, the Earth was entirely encased in ice.
okay.
Scientists call it a frozen snowball.
Oh, okay, let's go back to when human beings were here on the planet. Okay. And
There were human beings at the time, but they existed in a very narrow band of climate.
I guess what I'm getting at is if you were to look at the universe as a whole, and all of the different forms of manifestation and
One moment,
drama,
one moment, one moment. There has been an error in translation. 800 million years ago, the Earth was a frozen snowball before humanity existed. Nevertheless, there have been ice ages on your planet where humanity has existed in a narrow band of climate. We apologize for the mistranslation.
I guess the question is more, is there a complexification where things get more and more complex in the overall area of existence? If you look at the human timeline, and see how different the universe or the multiverse looks, since consciousness is always creating more and more and more, right? That's what it does. It creates.
Yes, when you talk about different levels of complexity, however, you must understand that that's a relative thing. So, to the idea of the human mind 800,000 years ago, there were certain things that would represent complexity to them or simplicity to them that are different from the things that represent those same concepts to you in your so-called modern age. So it can be just as complex, but not necessarily expressed in the same way.
Um, the concept of as above, then so below, does that refer to one above and we are the below, or is there a below that is below us that makes us above?
The idea is that physical reality is vibrationally lower as you understand these things, vibrationally below spirit vibration. Spirit vibration is the above. Physical reality experience is the lower vibration and thus is below. Below that are simply your own projections of portions of your own consciousness that reflect to you things like belief systems, especially the idea of fear based and negative ones, which are of a very low vibration. However, the idea that these things exist in the sub and unconscious mind as beliefs is actually paradoxical because all you're getting is a reflection of belowness, making you feel like the idea of the subconscious and unconscious are, so to speak, below you, but they're actually vibrationally above you because they're closer to the idea of the non physical higher mind. So you can have a reflection that you've created that is seemingly below you, but physical reality is the lowest vibration authentically compared to spirit. Now, there are other realities that are more dense than yours. You can consider those vibrationally to be below your experience of reality. But on your world, the vibrations of physical reality are the lowest that you actually authentically go, even though you may create the illusions of something even lower.
And what is the best approach to the art of acting in order to achieve the greatest performance? Please explain if it has to do with channeling, which it may not. Is the actor channeling a person that is simultaneously existing in a parallel universe, or is the actor creating something new? Perhaps even a completely different and new person, new in regards to this plane that we know time to exist in.
We have to be cautious about the idea of your terminology when you say completely new. There may be an infinite number of combinations that are completely probable and possible for someone to bring through in a form of channeling, which is what the best acting actually is, in tapping into parallel reality versions that can be representative of the different characters, in the sense that you may be combining from different parallel realities and presenting a new character in that sense, in the new combination of tapping into different parallel realities to create that character. You could say, in a sense, that the character is new, a new expression, one of the expansions of the idea of how creation expands, because it's a new relationship, it's a new perspective, it's a new experience, but it's made out of a combination of things that already exist. And in that sense is not completely new, but it can be a new expression in the way that you understand that term. Acting on the level that you're talking about is channeling, although channeling is not acting.